Hey, this is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, telling you to go above and Batman Beyond.
Hello, Ben.
The snap of Thanos.
The snap of Thanos. And just like that, half of the universe is gone.
Oh, man.
Good to be back.
Yeah, it's going to be back after the, what did they call it in Far From Home? The blip.
The blip.
It's going to be back from the blip.
The blip. And you could see us.
Yes.
We could see you.
For those listening, you can't see us because you're listening, as you know. No, but yes, awesome to be back in the vidcast, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
The vidcast returns.
I think the last time we did any type of video was, outside of the stuff we did in New York, like last summer.
Last summer, yeah.
We did
Sounds right.
We did some minor recording.
And as you can tell, the equipment has been upgraded.
Oh, yeah.
Got this dope-ass Zoom mic for the audio. We were born in audio here on Above and Batman Beyond. But yeah, having the vidcast back, we got this awesome cell phone setup, and then even the camera soon enough is going to improve. So
now you're just flexing.
Now I'm just flexing. Just saying.
We got some good topics today, though.
Yes. So, Eli, what is the main topic of today? Because I have felt bad for Eli. He's my Beyond expert, and I'm so scatterbrained nerd-wise on anywhere I go that even with the Beyond show, I'm like, oh, DC News, San Diego Comic-Con, this and that. So I always end up dragging you away from Beyond as my Beyond expert. Let's bring Eli back into what he does best.
Take me home.
Let's take
homecoming.
This is Eli's episode.
I was far from home. Now I'm homecoming.
Well done.
All right. So today, the main topic we're going to hit is the remastered Batman Beyond Season 1, which is now available on the DC streaming service.
Hell yes.
Season 2 and 3 should be available soon. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have the dates.
Oh, they've said that? I didn't know that.
Well, I surmise.
Right, okay.
Because the Blu-ray release comes out at the end of next month, being October 29th. The downloadable version will be available October 15th. So I would surmise that between, I would say, mid next month and now, Season 2 and 3 should be available on the streaming service. But Season 1 being available, and we've checked it out. Our boys over at the Watchtower have checked it out. So we're going to give you all our thoughts on it, and it's going to be a good time.
Yes.
But we do have other topics to hit.
We do.
Hit as well.
Yep. So the event of all events,
yes,
for comic nerds, for bat nerds in particular, Batman was born in the city of New York.
Yes.
And the Comic-Con of New York comes every year in October, and I will be covering, as always, From Above and Batman Beyond. And this year, we have press passes, Eli. C506.net. Gracias to Johan Morales and everyone over at C506.
Awesome.
Press passes. I have potential, too. This year, so they're not doing a press Q&A after the panel. To be totally clear, at New York Comic-Con this year, for Beyond fans in particular, not just Bat fans. Mm-hmm. So the City of the Bat, then Batman Beyond. Last year, there was the remaster and the Blu-ray release of the BTAS, Batman the Animated Series. This is Beyond. This is our show.
Yep.
Above is at home. Honestly, I can't think of a con after this year that's going to be this. I almost wish I had, the full-on camera crew, TV ready to go for this, because this is it, man. This is the 20th Blu-ray release, the 20th anniversary Blu-ray release, as a lot of anyone listening to the show probably already knows, but they're doing the same thing they did at San Diego. I don't know if it's as many producers when I say same thing, but panel, everything for the Blu-ray release at New York. And I'm going to be there attending the panel for sure.
That's so exciting.
I found out as press I don't get line, what would they call that? Privileges. So I can't cut lines, but I do have access to what's called a press roundtable afterwards, where if I can get access, there's not a press Q&A. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's just a press Q&A, almost like with the president, it's like, you call
Right.
people, whatever. So there's a kind of like a somewhat special thing where it's just a Q&A, I guess, through a panel.
Sure.
This time it's press roundtable, so you have to get through their representation. Long story short, I have been in contact with the voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, and getting in touch with Will Friedle's agencies and all the representation to get into that press roundtable.
That's incredible.
So
That's incredible. Oh, man.
that might happen.
You're getting emotional just talking about
Getting
it.
emotional.
Much less actually seeing them.
If it's, I'm glad it's audio for some of you because I'm getting the goosebumps and some nipples might be. Okay.
We're about to make this man cry.
Yeah. So New York Comic Con more than ever, man. You know, it just makes me think like all that, all the goosebumps, all those thoughts. Like it was only 3 years ago, Eli, when the project. But I always say this like every con because it builds, man. Mm-hmm. 2016, I went there with comicbookinternational.com. That was it. Just the website, and all it was a blog site. Like no sponsors, no legit journalists on there. I was a teacher with a blog site basically that I built through my knowledge of building WordPress sites. You know, geeked out with some dude who was standing looking at, you know, action figures, and we started talking, and he's like, hey, I have this website. He had a legit website. So I started writing for that, and that was like my entree to, now I'm kind of a geek journalist, as it were. It wasn't a huge site, but it was still, again, sponsors, all that. So from there, I got press passes to Toy Fair. Then like Toy Fair built into the next year's con, and then Above and Batman Beyond started, and it was just like every year it's gotten bigger, and like now combining the press with this, and then the 20th of Beyond, this is like everything, dude.
I mean, and not just to say this because I'm on the show, but I mean, you've really earned everything you have. Like, you have worked your ass off, and we've watched it grow. Me, the audience, the people around us, like, you have really fucking put in the work, dude.
Thank you.
So congratulations on everything that you have upcoming and everything. Congratulations on everything you've achieved.
Thank you.
It's incredible. Truly incredible. Humbled to be here.
Thanks. Yeah, and like, you know, it sounds, I know I kind of tell that story every year, but I think it's important for the upcoming con stuff and just people to keep in mind where a lot of it was a pain in the ass, and it, you know, continues to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, like you said, it's really paid off, and thank you for the compliment because the hustle has paid off.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hit Beyond. Again, I keep detracting you. But yeah, so we have New York Comic Con coverage coming up. I'm going to be meeting up with people. We're going to get into details, not yet, because again, I got to stop detracting. But I'll be talking about who I'm meeting up with at con, Bat people, people from Bat Force Radio, for example, Gotham Geek Girl, and so on. Batman on Film.
Yep.
And then...
And if we have time at the end, we'll also touch on some DC news.
Yes. Try to focus Beyond related because there's enough where we could keep it in.
Yeah. And then next week, I do want to have a discussion about Batwoman Beyond and the DC Rebirth comics. I know that's been a point of contention for a lot of people. I just need to do some catch up on the reading, and then we will discuss it next time. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do it. Let's jump into the remaster.
Yes.
This is huge.
So, for starters, what episodes did you watch? Because I only watched about 3 of them, but I wanted to watch...
Pretty much what I watched.
I wanted to watch 3 that would give a nice, I guess, overview on how it looks in different settings. The 3 I watched were Rebirth 1 and 2, and then I also watched Dead Man's Hand, because that has an opening daytime shot that I wanted to see how the remaster looked during the day.
Oh, nice.
And then also has that club where they're at the juice bar and it has all the different flashing lights. So, yeah. So I just kind of wanted to get a visual feel on how the remaster looked. Some of my favorites I want to save for the Blu-ray just to kind of give myself the anticipation, like Meltdown.
Right.
I'm going to save for the Blu-ray.
Oh, that's cool. You're going to save some for the Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We should save
save
Meltdown for that. You're right.
Yeah. But...
Oh, so to answer your question, I watched Rebirth 1 and 2, like you did, and then I watched Shriek. I couldn't help myself with Shriek.
That's like your episode.
It's my episode. Shriek's my guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's start with you. What did you think of the remaster personally?
First of all, the fact that, again, our show, that all this is happening, it's just incredible. Like, being able to go on a nap and like seeing a remaster, the thing that meant so much to me, and then like meeting up with you and like being able to talk about it. It's just so perfect. The point is, I'm trying not to take it for granted because it's right up our wheel, like right in our wheelhouse. Last year we got the remaster once again of the. I'm still going through those Blu-ray.
And if you go back and listen to our previous
I feel like I'm not even caught up.
For.
Yeah,
we were talking about this forever now. This is what we wanted.
Exactly. Yeah, we have been talking about this literally from, I think, the first ever time I've had you on just as a guest, before you were ever a co-host.
Yeah.
Like, this was on your agenda, our agenda. Mm-hmm. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my initial, like, what do I think of the remaster? The fact that it's happening is crazy to me. And also that we're in this time of I don't want to take for granted as well, and kids enjoy this. And, understand it's a privilege of being able to stream shit before it's out. So, like, this Blu-ray, we're getting a Blu-ray remaster, but it's still a remaster. So they have the copies sitting there, and they're like, we also have an app.
Right.
Let's let the people see it.
Right.
That's dope as shit. And we get to they probably get to gauge fan reactions on it. Either way, we're going to get the copies that are in. But the point is, like, I love the fact that it's available before it's available in a way. And in that streaming world, I mean, I've been streaming stuff for 10 years now. Like, I'm kind of in that. As much as I will love the Blu-ray, it's dope that it's also available.
I appreciate having the option.
I appreciate having that option.
Yeah.
Specifics, I told you some of the same things that we're about to read with James Strecker from DCAU Watchtower. Shout out.
What's up, man?
And we ended up, you and I agreeing too off mic.
I think we all unanimously think the same thing.
Yeah, we all kind of think the same thing about the remaster. But I just kind of wanted to throw in my whole thing about like my excitement having this show, what Batman Beyond means to me, which go back to the early episodes if you don't already know. Mm-hmm. And it's just insane that like all this is coming together on this awesome new. And again, I feel like I'm still getting caught up with the app. The app is only a year old at this point.
Right.
So. What do you think about? And then now I guess like I'll go back to you with initial reactions, and then we'll do like specifics, and then read first. Yeah. And then again we'll read Stricker. He had some awesome stuff to say.
He did. He usually does.
He has some things to say about the DCAU, in case you don't know.
Watching this, it was actually funny. I was watching with shout out to my boy Azriel. We were watching it. He has the streaming service. I don't. And I remember we clicked on the Rebirth Part 1, and he wasn't sure yet if it was remastered, just because even like previously being on the DC app, I guess like they kind of upscaled the videos a little bit to, just HD quality, not necessarily remastered, but like HD. And so he initially kind of couldn't tell just for that opening shot, where, the newscast is playing of, Bunny Vreeland being captured. And, he turns to me and he was like, well, is this the remastered episode? I can't tell. But I knew immediately. I was so familiar with that episode. And I remember just kind of that shot where, Bruce takes out that asshole who's wearing sunglasses outside. He takes him out and, you see him step into shot in the bat suit. And it just hit me. Like, I saw how remastered it looked. And as someone who... woke up as a kid on Saturday mornings watching this on like Kids WB and Cartoon Network, and as someone who has followed this, much like you and a lot of other people in our age bracket, all the way from the VHS eras, I couldn't help but get like very emotional. I got very, very emotional watching this, just because I never thought I would actually get this. Like, it's one of those things I always kind of wanted, but I was... Until the BTAS got remastered, I never thought I'd actually kind of get it. And kind of seeing it all come to fruition and seeing this show that you care about this much look this good, it made me very emotional. And I'm so grateful to have it. Regardless of what I think.
Like, we literally had episodes of this show, DCAU Wish List Beyond.
Yeah.
Every fucking episode. But we would revise our list of what we wanted.
Yeah.
It was this on Blu-ray. It was just such a simple, like...
I know. And regardless of what I may think of it technically.
Yeah.
And,
which we'll get into, but...
Yeah, whatever minute criticisms I may have of the actual remaster process, I'm just so grateful for this. And... I'll always have a deep affinity for
as a celebration. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will always have a deep affinity for the VHS and some of the more original forms of its release. But I very much appreciate having the option of having this HD remaster of it, and so I would say that was my initial thought. I was just very emotional seeing that.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Especially for me. Well, I should say that because I should have expected me to be the one, because I get emotional everything now. But no, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Again, the show makes me emotional all the time, and that Rebirth episode, seeing Bruce in the suit, God, I kind of wanted more of that from the show. Do you think if they, just real quick, if they maybe went into like seasons 4 or 5, we would have gotten more flashbacks and more kind of Return of the Joker-y type mid-range stuff that Maddie Washburn talks about, like timeline stuff with Bruce Wayne in the suit.
Right.
Bruce Wayne in the Beyond suit.
Possibly. I
I
always
love seeing his build and like just that salt and pepper hair,
I
just
know.
knowing that he's breaking down. I just love the
that
end of an era
semi-gruff
shit.
voice, when it's never again.
Anyway, I detract as always.
I would actually love I would have loved like a mini series of that, like even like a 5-episode mini, just kind of capturing the end of like the New Adventures era, kind of slowly bringing us into like the, I guess, pre-Beyond era.
Oh my God.
That would've been
DCAU,
really cool.
are you listening?
Him-
Sorry, DC Universe, are you listening?
Him forming, the suit and just kind of showing, like, he'll go out in the field and, he'll realize he's a little slower, so then he adds this to the suit, and then he adds this to the suit. He realizes he's not strong enough, so he adds this to the suit. And, you kind of see it forming out of a necessity to crutch his age.
Right.
Oh,
man.
They did touch upon that. Quick little fact. They did touch upon that in the issue 1 of the original 6-issue miniseries for Batman Beyond, which was meant to retell the origin story. It was written by Hilary J. Bader, she was one of the head writers of the series.
Oh, yeah.
It basically just showed him. He made this like giant, almost like this gauntlet thing, and it gave him super strength.
Yes,
and,
that. I always think of that.
And he smashes this giant crate of guns, and these criminals that he stops said, "Imagine if you made an entire suit of that stuff." And that was supposed to be almost like your prologue to him making the suit. So it would have been cool to see more of that kind of thing. But no, to your point, the opening to Rebirth it's brilliant. All of Rebirth is brilliant. Those 2 episodes, it's a brilliant pilot.
Really
In fact,
is.
I would say it's probably Beyond's strongest. It's the high point of the series. Outside of notable episodes like Meltdown and Return of the Joker, obviously, I'd say it starts on a really, really high note. The series, it's great.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it's pretty much a TV movie.
Right.
It's like that and Return of the Joker, pretty much the strongest.
Yeah.
And then a couple in there, but yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. So yeah, let's get into, as we said, the specifics of the remaster.
Yes.
A lot goes on with these remasters.
Yes.
A lot of questions come up with what, we got into super deep stuff,
Yes.
but off mic, but and we could get into that next episode, and this isn't going anywhere. The Blu-ray is coming out. This is only going to be fruitful in terms of episodic
we're going to go
coverage.
way into the Blu-ray when
Holy
it comes
shit.
out. Yeah.
So for now, though, we have the remaster. What are some specific things that we can either start or use James's comments as kind of a guide? Stuff that you thought, dislikes of the remaster of Batman Beyond Season 1.
Okay, so I'm going to give my thoughts and a few other thoughts that were brought to my attention, and then I guess we can go talk about what James says, because James really reinforces what we say, or we reinforce what he says. We're all kind of unanimously on the same page,
Yeah.
I'd say, for the most part. So I guess the first thing is, this looks incredible. It does. And Batman the Animated Series looked incredible. The remaster of that. It looks great.
Yeah.
The colors are really vibrant, and the sharpness, I think, is where it needs to be without being too overbearing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I am not an expert in this field of remastering film, so this is straight from a layman, straight from a consumer of the product.
No, but I'll agree. None of it seemed like off.
Right.
Yeah.
But from the untrained eye, right? I think it looks really good. However, I think the one issue that not only do we think, and not only does James mention, but I think this is kind of unanimous, is a lot of people say that because they filtered it out so much and removed so much of that grain and just film wear, a lot of an atmosphere is missing. James says that.
Yep.
And we kind of agree. There's a
Yeah.
certain
It's like so sharp.
yeah. There is a certain atmosphere missing. I will agree.
Yeah.
But also, it makes like whatever natural wear on the film appear more vibrantly. So, little dust particles and hairs and stuff like that are like glaringly apparent.
Yeah. Yeah, weirdly it has a thing where it's supposed to be cleaner, but because it's so clean, now you're seeing all these imperfections.
Right. Now, it could have been because I was so emotional. It personally was not enough to pull me out of the experience.
It doesn't pull me out. I think it's almost charming because it puts this old film weirdness to it.
Right. No, exactly. It's like a love letter to that era of film, you know what I mean? In a weird way. I could understand it pulling certain people out.
Yeah.
If you're not about that.
Purist,
But you and I think we're the type of people where it doesn't personally bother us. But it is worth mentioning.
It does, I will say this. I do now want to get a DVD because I want to make sure I have the option. I don't just want that as my only option now.
I have the DVDs,
I don't want that as a replacement is what I'll say because, yeah. And maybe that'll be a segue into maybe what some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you kind of got into that too. Yeah. Just like, that's my beef with it of if you sharpen something so much that comes from a time where it's atmospheric as a result of its technology.
Right.
It also doesn't mean that atmosphere wasn't there for a reason.
Right.
I had a big issue even with like, I'll say on kind of like on the dislike end of the spectrum with the sharpness is with like, because again, I found it a little charming to see the film grain and stuff like that, and it's all right with me. And I do think, like you said, to start off with some positives as well, the color looked amazing. It's not like they were like anything was off. Like looking at it, I wasn't like this is off or this is weird. Nothing like that. Because sometimes with remasters or a certain redos, it's like this looked all right, but my issue was with backgrounds in this because the painted backgrounds in season 1, that atmosphere is what set like, so when you have film 101, a rack focus, the background or the foreground, one of them is in focus, one of them is out of focus, and when you change that focus, that's a rack zoom, right? So if you either way, the background being out of focus, it's out of focus for a reason. I think removing some of that atmosphere literally has brought up like visual problems into the show a little bit with the painted background specifically.
Sure.
Or if there were foreground issues as well, either way it would bring out that issue because you're, again, back then they were accounting for that when painting this shit of going like this atmosphere will provide depth.
Right.
Because your eye, if it sees depth, like anything shot well, whatever, like, soon enough I'd like to have some kind of a background in here, not in digital or whatever, just something behind us that, super simple example, but depth is good in visuals.
Right.
And it takes away some depth. So that's something I observed.
No, I agree.
This is, again, nothing major I have, but I would say if I have, like, of the issues I have, that's the thing that pulled me a little bit out
and
of
you
it.
can level some
like
of
the
these
back,
criticisms
like some of the Batcave specifically, I was like, whoa. And like Windows during the day you mentioned, that kind of stuff I almost rubbed up against it.
And you can level some of these criticisms to the animated series remaster
yes.
as well.
No, I had those same,
Yeah.
It almost,
Yeah.
Because it's the same problem. It's painted backgrounds.
I'm just going to say that in my experience, while I do have, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of us do, have a lot of history with BTAS, I have BTAS I haven't watched as nearly as meticulously as this series. So like changes and just things that I didn't notice previously will become way more glaring for this remaster. Like I don't go back to the animated series the same way I go back to this series.
You're gonna know right away.
Right. So there are certain things for the animated series that like would go unnoticed just because I'm lesser familiar with that than Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond, like, Rebirth, especially Rebirth, like episodes I go back to especially frequently, I noticed changes on that like almost immediately. So, so meaning I'm going to be judging this a little harder than BTAS just because I'm more familiar with it.
Makes sense.
That's my point. But my point was I will level all the same criticisms to BTAS because I think it had a lot of the same problems.
Agreed.
To varying degrees because it's different, totally different tone, totally different atmosphere.
Yes.
But I think some of those core problems were still there.
Yeah, methodology, technology.
Right.
Again, and I keep saying painted backgrounds. Maybe they were drawn, whatever it is. There was whatever method they had still going on pre-digital in Batman Beyond.
The backgrounds are painted.
They're painted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah. So you know what? A very specific thing that keeps popping out. Not again, the Batcave hit me, and then Terry's suit under the bed at the end of Rebirth Part 2 at the very end when Bruce comes.
Yeah.
And like he's got the suit stashed under the bed. That's painted, and it with the remaster really just popped in a way that didn't work.
See, it's funny you mentioned that.
Or maybe that always looked weird.
Well, so I've always noticed the way that suit looks, like, and I've always said, like, oh, it's interesting, like, they painted that in a certain way that it's in the background with the image and not in, like, the foreground where, like, Terry and the characters are.
Yeah.
So it does
Could
have,
you try to move the mic with your...
It does have an interesting... We're new to this.
Yeah, that's all right.
It does...
Because we have the camera and then, yeah.
It does have an interesting look to it.
Yeah.
But I didn't, like, particularly look at it during the remaster, so I don't know if it looks especially weird now.
Yeah.
But I'll have to look for that now. Yeah.
It could have been, again, a pre-weird... What was weird about it is that the suit itself isn't technically in the background. They just painted it as such because it's supposed to be dark because it's under a bed.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's a weird thing with the eye too, that even pre-remaster was weird.
Right.
I'd like to, that's a good thing to go back and see. But remaster, I was like, whoa, I bumped up against it a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is also all cool shit because it has us go back, watch the stuff we already love. And like, are these big, like, oh, the suit out of place? And it's like, dude, we're still watching Batman. It still all looks amazing. But it's really interesting to see all the work that they're putting into these things and the things that change about it. And the fact the idea of preservation, like this is the 20th of it. And they're keeping alive one of the things that I was saying before that I really want to hit about all of this. With the remaster, we're getting it for the first time. Then we're getting the Blu-ray. Then I'm going to go to this panel. All this shit of like, this is also the last time on a film nerd, on a animation nerd perspective, Batman Beyond aside, one of the last generations of animation that was pre-digital.
Right.
So this is a remaster of something, especially today's topic, because we're going to get into season 2 and 3, but by season 2 it was post-digital, right?
About halfway.
About halfway. So those are going to be totally different conversations, and I will also say sometimes maybe even more positive, because as we'll get into, we're going to predict that maybe we'll like those better because they were digital, and remastering digital is better and maybe even easier. But these conversations and this specific episode of us talking about the season 1, because all of season 1, right, is pre-digital.
Yep.
This is one of the last properties that's going to be this remastering a pre-digital piece of animation, especially at a high like Warner Brothers level. This isn't some, just like I was saying before, kind of like maybe a not so great quality Cartoon Network show from the late 90s. Yeah. This isn't some like major Warner Brothers animation, and the kind of like, and again, I always love those the last of stories, Beyond included. So like, yeah, all this is. What do you think of that? Maybe of like, and maybe that'll be a segue into season 2 and 3.
I do agree. Like I was saying to you off air, I think that it's important to, when you remaster shows, that when you remaster anything, and we brought up Star Wars, that you make it look like it, you amplify what it's supposed to be.
Oh yes, let's talk about this. Yes.
So, and this will be relevant.
I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick.
Yep, and this will be relevant to the question. I'll bring it full circle. It's important that you amplify the series to look like, or the project that you are remastering to look like, what it's supposed to be. So,
yes.
When we remaster Star Wars 1,000 times, half the time we're trying to take these 80s films and make them look like modern day films, and they're not.
Far from it.
Right, and that's okay. There's charm to be had in that. Celebrate.
They're really 70s B movies, if this is what they are. 70s B sci-fi movies, sci-fi fantasy movies. They're
right,
yeah.
And so you don't take these things that are in a reflection of their time and try to transform them into something they're not. Instead, you amplify them to be what they were, right? So
right.
And so I bring this up because, bringing it back full circle,
It's a really good point.
Especially the first half of Batman Beyond that was cell animated, it's a reflection of that era of cell animation, and so I feel like moving forward, when we discuss season 2 and 3, to your point, those will possibly look even better because we're trying to take these cartoons, I feel like, and remaster them in Blu-ray and make them look like as close to modern cartoons as they can be. And that will work. That will work better for digital animation, as we've seen with Return of the Joker, which you brought up off air. Return of the Joker looks incredible, and it's Blu-ray format. Which Return of the Joker already has a Blu-ray release, but it will be re-released for this Blu-ray box set.
Oh yeah, it's part of the new box set.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
nice.
But
that's exciting.
Yeah, but to your point, so I think that when we get to the digital animation being remastered, I think it'll look like a smoother transition, possibly. Not to say that the cell looks bad. I think this will just be a smoother transition.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because you're almost taking something that it's almost like an adaptation, if you will. Like you're. And let's bust out James's comments too, because he words it really well. He does. Almost saying like, for maybe when they do remasters in the future, keeping in mind what I'm about to say of like, and you're turning something that is into something that isn't. Meaning like like you said, you're taking technology of the now and trying to make it something that it isn't.
Right.
Where if you just kind of like. Yeah, I guess I'm just reiterating what you're saying, but yeah, let's get into. So
I'll read him verbatim.
Yeah, so this is James Strecker from the DCAU Watchtower. Check out their stuff on YouTube. I've had both James and Maddie Washburn. Maddie has a show on the Watchtower YouTube channel called 12th Level Intellects is that's podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah. What is the one? Because it's Thursday. What's the name of his show? How the hell am I? Vanishing Point. Sorry, Maddie. Yeah. I always remember the tag, the Kevin Conroy thing. But anyway, so yeah, Vanishing Point, James Strecker. Vanishing Point is Maddie's show, and then James Strecker is from the DCAU Watchtower. So he commented, I put on Twitter, what do you guys think of the Season 1 remaster? Because it is available in DC Universe. Mm-hmm. Some people got back to us. I thought... Like, James really got... he put 3 full tweets. And so Eli's going to read what James had to say. And thank you once again, James.
All right. So to quote James Strucker from the Watchtower database, and again, thank you for your comment.
Yeah.
He says, just like with the BTAS remaster, I'm a bit torn. The clarity in the detail is amazing. I'm seeing things I never saw before, and the colors pop in a way that almost makes me forget the season wasn't digitally colored. But that was also a problem. The original cell painting added a level of atmosphere that is missing now. I wish when they did these remasters that they would leave some of the grain, grime, grit from the original scans. A lot of the 80s and 90s anime has the same aesthetic, and Batman Beyond is a very anime-like show in its design and style.
Awesome point.
The atmosphere is missing from this and BTAS. I do look forward to seeing the digitally colored later episodes remastered, though, which he's referring to the digital animation.
Okay.
As opposed to the cell animation.
Okay.
I do look forward to seeing the digitally colored later episodes remastered, though, as I'm keen to see how brilliant it'll look.
Okay.
So, essentially, that's what we were saying. There is a level of atmosphere missing to the cell animation,
right?
And
with the remaster, yeah,
right. It looks good, but there's definitely like something visually missing. And I think we all agree that the digital episodes will probably translate better to a remaster process. So
I think the anime thing too. What just snapped into my mind too when he said that so anime being atmospheric, and he relating anime to Beyond.
Yes,
there's also the Blade Runner. Connection,
right?
Like that guest Hal Laren I had on, I think episode 32 somewhere in there of our show. He is a digital artist. He does those like live action. It looks like live action, super dark, like tech noir. Yeah. It's in the rain, but hyper realistic.
I love his art.
Oh my god, Batman Beyond stuff, and he has this Beyond the Dark Knight digital comic.
Yes. Going,
and I don't know if it's like published yet, but he's always at Hal_Laren on Instagram. Check his shit out. Amazing. Point is, Hal Laren always talked about on that episode, like the atmosphere of Blade Runner and of Beyond, and love that, and what he always brings into his own renditions, his own art of Beyond, into these live action things of that tech noir, and that makes sense that stuff like Akira and kind of that Japanese and or anime meets, or anime,
right?
Meets noir, tech noir, Batman, perfect, like, or Batman Beyond, all fits, makes total sense. So that being taken away from this is another. It's an point as I'm trying to make, like, it's an important element that shouldn't be removed, even from Batman, like even like noir, always noir being tech noir or noir. In let's say Batman the Animated Series, you don't want to remove like the steam in the streets and all that shit. I was even watching Shriek last night. It was still so Batman. Like Shriek still has a giant spinning fan in his wall. Like for what? What are those fans ever for? But I guess in warehouses they do exist, and he's in a warehouse of sound or whatever the hell. Like you can sell it, but it's still just so Batman, and that kind of stuff. It is very relevant. Atmosphere is relevant very much to Batman Beyond, so it's an interesting point. It was good to bring up.
Absolutely. So, did you have any closing remarks for the
so just some stuff to make sure I wanted to tell people watching on the video, because audio I would have already done the intro, but the point is...
I just meant closing remarks for the Blu-ray release.
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, I thought you meant for the episode.
Well, we have to talk about the Turtles, too.
Oh, yeah? Sorry, we'd have like a couple smaller things to hit, but yeah, we're not done. So on the remaster, let me think. Again, I just love let's I guess clarify information wise. Is it the entire season? Like, because I know sometimes with the streaming stuff they'll say like season 1's on here. Is it the whole season?
As I saw, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's all of the. So how many episodes is that?
13.
13 episodes. Mm-hmm. Cool.
And then season 2 has about 26.
26. Yeah. And when is that? Do you know again?
I don't have an exact date. Not to say that there's not one surfacing. I just don't have it. But yeah, season 1 is 13 episodes. Season 2 is double the length, so it's 26. And then season 3 is 13 again.
Well, then I guess my closing thing to say is I'm going to watch all of the remaster tomorrow. No, actually, I can't. My mom's coming to town, which would be nice. Good to see my mom. But no, the point is I'm definitely going to blow through that. If it's only 13 episodes, that's awesome. And I can't wait to see. Again, I saw Shriek. I really... Is Babel in that grouping for season 1?
Babel's season 2. But I love Babel.
That's my other Shriek episode. How about Lost Souls? Where's that?
Season 2.
I
know.
All right, so I got some stuff to look forward to, but that'll still be digital, or that'll still be
Cell.
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
So I'm really looking forward to Lost Soul. I guess my closing remarks episodes to look forward to. Lost Soul, cannot wait. Babel, I cannot wait. Yeah, man. So how about closing remarks?
A few episodes. I'm really, because I'm a Blight guy, so
Yes.
I can't wait.
He looks so good.
I can't wait to see Meltdown. I haven't seen Meltdown yet. Ascension.
How can I forget Meltdown?
I actually really want to go see how Spellbinder looks, because
Oh.
in his opening shot in Spellbound,
Yeah, Spellbound is on.
He's in the fog,
I was considering watching that last night.
and it has this really cool like bloom effect almost, because they're supposed to depict like Chelsea's walking in the fog. So I want to see how that translates, that particular scene. That probably looks really cool.
Nice. That's the episode with like the Vietnam sequence,
The
right?
Vietnam sequence.
I interviewed Michael McCuistion about. I brought up that specific episode because he did the music on that episode.
Yeah.
Unreal, the music that he does in that.
I love that track.
Oh.
I'll throw a quick fun fact out.
Go for it.
In that sequence, Spellbinder is stealing, just for the Vietnam part, is stealing a gown that was worn by Princess Audrey, who we see appear in Justice League Unlimited. Or Justice League, I'm sorry. Does she appear in Justice League? Yeah, Justice League. I don't want to say it's Unlimited. So it's a little piece of continuity.
Whoa.
Yeah, she appears.
I love that so
she
much.
appears twice, yeah.
God.
So.
Remember back then too, like now we're in a world everything's connected, and especially superhero world.
I know.
Marvel, everything. But back then it was just like,
It was such a big deal. I know.
Oh man. And they did it so well.
Remember watching World's Finest for the first time?
Oh my God,
Right.
dude! I cannot describe that excitement. Oh man! Holy shit! And I was not even like super young for that. I was
Yeah.
like 13.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wow.
my God, that's the Batman Superman team. If you've never seen it, check it out. Amazing. Yeah. So you got to go pretty soon. We'll wrap up.
Sure.
Okay. So we do have like two final things. Next episode, I'll get deeper into the New York Comic Con stuff details. The point is I'm meeting up with some people, including the Bat Force, Gotham Geek Girl, Batman on Film, people from... I have some cosplayer friends I'm meeting up with, and then again, the Batman Beyond 20th anniversary panel, possibly interviewing the Bat himself, and... Batman Beyond himself, Will Friedle, assuming Friedle's going to be there. I mean, they haven't announced specifically who is going to be on that panel, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they have. I know they've announced the panel. It's going to be on October 6th, Sunday, October 6th at 1:45, and yeah, boy's going to be there.
Nice.
If I am projectile vomiting sick out of nowhere, I don't care. I will be on that stage. No, I'm kidding.
Hell yeah, you
That'll
will.
be disgusting. But no, I honestly, you can't keep me away from that. I'm going Thursday as well to cover collectibles. And do some cosplay interviews, because I don't want to schedule anything else, because I'm assuming if I don't have weight privilege on that panel line,
Right.
I'm going to be there for a while. So
Yeah.
I don't want to commit to anything else Sunday.
Fair,
So yeah, Thursday also collectibles interviews. I'm going to try to find as many people. This will be a good segue.
Yes.
Who worked on Batman versus TMNT. If there's anyone who worked on that animated film at Con, I am fucking interviewing them. So let's get into the little piece, that reference that you and I found in that movie. And dude, you combine Batman, you combine the Turtles. My entire childhood, as we talked about last episode on our Batman 80th special, we drove all the way up to the Hudson Valley at our huge special, devoted half the episode of this show to this movie.
Yes.
On top of that, in the beginning of this movie, the Turtles open up a sewer plate in Gotham City, and what do they see? Isn't that where they see it?
Yep.
What is it?
Now, I forget if they call it Powers Technology or Powers Industry, but it's Powers Corporation, basically.
God.
Now, I actually did catch that the first time
Batman
I
Beyond
saw.
reference in Batman versus TMNT.
I did catch that the first time I saw it, but I had so many questions. Like,
Me too.
I was wondering if that was the same, like, Powers lineage. I was wondering... It seemed like it
maybe
was...
maybe is Powers also an older Batman character, but I don't think it is. He is.
No. Yeah, I was just kind of wondering... I just had a lot of questions. I was just like, okay, like, Powers, it was just kind of random.
I think it's a why not.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Powers would at least maybe... a younger Powers, that could be the rise of Powers.
It could be. Or it could be his father.
Pre-takeover, or the Powers family.
Yeah. It does make sense for it to be his because they were developing like technologies and stuff, and that's what Powers was all about. So,
and as insane as that movie was, like non-apologetic, and as all over the places you can go interdimensionally with the Turtles. Literally, Dimension X was like a place they would go to all the time in the old show. Turtles in Time was a video game, and in the third movie, wasn't good, but it was Turtles in Time. I think it was even called that, the movie as well. Like, all the potential for Terry McGinnis to show up with the Turtles, I would shit myself. Holy God. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but it was still cool that we got a Beyond reference.
It is cool.
That's all I'm saying.
It is cool. Just more reasons for you to like fanboy over that movie.
Oh my God. So cool. Right? It's just all the stuff that they threw in there. It's like Kung Fu movies, all the Batman references you want, all the animated series you want, everything about Batman you want, detective work, the Turtles. All there. Great story. All the villains.
All the villains.
Anyway, so check out again. I guess we should wrap with that too. Telling people, do not forget to check out our Batman 80th special. That's audio only because we again, this is the return of the vidcast this episode, and as many as we can do. If it's me and Eli, we'll be recording the vidcast. So check out what is the YouTube channel, because now we have a YouTube channel devoted entirely.
Well, the YouTube channel is just straight up above in Batman Beyond.
So follow that, subscribe.
Yep. Actually, so I've been archiving like some of the original episodes. I've been putting them up in order, but I think I'm also gonna go put like the newest ones down so I can just kind of close in from top and bottom. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Kind of burn the candle from both ends.
Yeah. So that people can get the newer content and the
and some of the older stuff. But,
nice. Thank you for doing that. That's been great.
Yeah.
He's done a great job. Like, check out the channel, really. Like, even for the audio ones, they're awesome.
It's been fun to listen back to some of the older discussions, and that was back when, there was like Bernard Chang on, and,
so
Beechin
old.
on, and I just, actually, ironically, you're talking about Comic-Con, I just threw up the 2017 Comic-Con that you went to, and it was so interesting just how much things have changed and grown.
I'm sure. Oh my God, my voice back then. To above and Batman Beyond. God, I can't. When we returned this season, I was like, wow, or this grouping of episodes, whatever you want to call it, I was like, I was literally a radio announcer from the 50s.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I always was trying not to be, but I was like, no, it's the intro to a show. And I'm like, no, dude. So I'm glad that's over. But yes, thank you for noting the development.
Absolutely. So check that out. That's on YouTube.
Yeah, check that out. And then full episodes like you're seeing now if you're watching it or even listening to it, like the full audio, to start over. Full video episodes like you're watching now are going to be on that YouTube channel. Then we're going to do clips and throw in like documentary style type shit. I'm learning video editing right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to be putting that on the Comic Book INTL YouTube channel. It's third part of the Comic Book INTL network, of course. And then clips on here too. But it'll be cool to have kind of like not just the base audio and have you continue to do those audio archives on YouTube. Now we'll have a visual as well of conversation that we can use as a base. Then once again for like documentary type stuff. Flip back and forth. It's awesome, man. So I, for now to again tap back into that YouTube audience that I wanted to before, but I didn't really have a system that I thought was realistic. Like I was doing the Skype interviews. It was just tech-wise such a headache that, as you know, you've heard the stories, but just for the audience, like it was a big tech nightmare. And now I think with this setup, we're going to really be able to be prolific with it. Like we're not just going to be like, here's the vidcast and then it's going to disappear like before. Right. We're going to do this as consistently as possible, guys. So look forward to more.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what else to wrap up. Oh yeah. Next episode, we'll do some DC news. We're going to throw in when we have time. We're going to try to do like hour-plus episodes, but Beyond, of course, is our priority. But when we can, DC news, especially if it's juicy enough. And recently with the Joker, with or I should say Joker, or with again Conroy on CW showing up, Batwoman Beyond. There's a good amount of DC news. Well, Batwoman Beyond is specifically for us, and so is the CW. But the point is that there's enough DC news and enough movies coming up, I think, where we can do a little bit of that as well. So look forward to that as well.
Oh yeah,
and that'll be fun with the video too.
It will be. Oh yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
No.
No?
No, I think.
Check out the season
I'm
1
satiated.
remaster. You're
I'm
satiated?
I'm
Good.
satiated. Everything I wanted to say, I said, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm satiated beyond. So yeah, no, check out the season 1 remaster. It's on DC Universe. If you don't have DC Universe, friggin' get it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Now it is.
Now it is, yes.
I think it took a little while, but it's there now. Just about.
That should be something we'll hit next episode too with DC News of talking about like we do check in about the DC Universe app
do.
periodically, which is totally in our wheelhouse. So we'll get into that too.
Yeah. Much more to come.
Much more to come. All right, dude. This has been Benjamin
I've been Eli
telling you to go above.
and Batman Beyond.
All right, guys. Ciao.
Peace.
Hey, this is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, telling you to go above and Batman Beyond.